He is a favorite around these parts. Very happy to welcome back to the Clearwater Cleaning Solutions broadcast studios, Mark the Shark DiCarlo. Mark, Shark, how are you today, sir?
Mark is good, and so is the Shark. Thanks, Kleiner. But I just wanted to let everybody know, especially those that think otherwise in Winnipeg, Manitoba, that Calgary is the professional wrestling capital of the world.
Yeah, those are just the facts. That is a factual shirt that you are wearing there.
That's correct.
And we continue to add to the Calgary wrestling legacy with CanAm Wrestling back at the back alley coming up on March 9th, traveling around Alberta, and have been doing a great job with that. I guess before we get into some of the specifics, we're now a few months into this thing. How do you feel CanAm has been doing and the growth that you are seeing with the promotion so far?
I think we've been doing fantastic. And even if I wasn't involved in the promotion, I would from afar look at everything that CanAm Wrestling has been doing under, at the best, Peter, dubious circumstances with the pandemic, restrictions on everything from building capacity to what exactly we can and cannot do as a professional wrestling promotion. For those that don't know, March 1st in Alberta, mostly all restrictions have been lifted, so we're exceedingly happy about that. And we have been on a steady incline as far as attendance at the shows. Everywhere that we've been running, in all the shows, for those that don't know, have been in and around the Calgary area. Airdrie, the Back Alley nightclub every other Wednesday at the CanAm Arena. Okotoks at the Town and Country Center, or pardon me, Airdrie is the Town and Country Center. Okotoks is the Centennial Center, of course, the Cypress Center in Medicine Hat, and the Civic Center in Strathmore. All the attendance at the shows have been on a steady incline. It's been fantastic. The talent locally in Western Canada and talent that we've been bringing in from around the world have been certainly lending to some spectacular CanAm Wrestling shows over the last little while. And we invite all the fans out. Of course, we return to the back alley next Wednesday. And it is a great show. There's some great matches, and it is all topped off and capped off, Peter, by a lights out unsanctioned match between the despicable, nefarious, and vertically challenged Mastermind, and he'll be facing the runaway rebel Aaron 6. These two have a history. The Mastermind and the variants laid out Aaron 6, put him in a neck brace, try to take him out of the business in really his first match. Put his neck in a chair and stomped on him. He's lucky to be walking, never mind wrestling. This should be the runaway rebel will be looking for retribution. Say that 3 times in a hurry. Next Wednesday at the back alley, and the current and reigning CanAm Wrestling World Tag Team Champions, the greatest tag team in the world, and they'll tell you exactly that. Big Business Sydney Steele and the headline, Sean Martin's The Brand, will be putting up the titles against the tag team of the Prophets. Now, the Prophets were a tag team when we rebooted CanAm Wrestling, and unfortunately, Rhino Reynolds' tag team partner, Chris Castles, had an injury. He was out. He had some surgery. He's back. He's been training. The tag team is fantastic, and it should be a hell of a match between the Brand and the Prophets. And we're going to take a trip back in the CanAm Wrestling time machine, Peter, next Wednesday, as the tag team of the Porta Party, not Potty, Porta Party, Type A Michael May, and Mr. Tropical Paradise himself, Devin Veer. They will be busting out their party attire when they return to the back alley to face the CanAm Wrestling tag team of the All-American Steve Rivers and Mr. Happy Pants, Dancing Machine, the one and only, should we even tell the people? Vinny Fever. I said Vinny Fever is returning after a long hiatus, not hiatus hernia, but a long hiatus from professional wrestling. And he actually was the choice of Steve Rivers to be his tag team partner when they go up against Porta Party next Wednesday. And I hear from the powers that be at the Alberta Wrestling Academy that Vinny Fever has been training 3 times a day. And I don't mean at the buffet table. I mean in the ring, on the weights, and he's got a surprise for Porta Party, and it should be unbelievable. There's some great other matches. Tickets are on sale right now online at canamwrestling.ca or at the door at the back alley. It's going to be unbelievable. Some great food and drink specials, as always, pumped out by Matt and Jamal and Dennis at the legendary Back Alley nightclub, all going down next Wednesday, March 9th, here in Calgary.
I feel like Steve has something up his sleeve. That guy's a real bad egg. I worry a little bit for Vinny, if I'm being perfectly honest here. I feel like there's something nefarious afoot.
You feel as though there might be some Rivers shenanigans?
I think so. I think there could be shenanigans and tomfoolery. I think both could be in play.
And shenanigans. And speaking of up his sleeve, let's not forget who the All-American Steve Rivers manager is. And for those of you that don't know, the legendary former manager of Stampede Wrestling's Karachi Vice, Abu Weezal, speaking of shenanigans, will be at the back alley in the CanAm Arena to manage the All-American Steve Rivers. And you would think that with Vinny Fever on Rivers' team, he would also be managing Vinny Fever. But you're right, Kleiner. I'm always sure about one thing with Abu Weezal, and that's that I'm never quite sure.
Yeah. You shake his hand and make sure all your fingers are there after, because there's something up with that guy. I want to touch on Rhino Reynolds for a second, because he is someone who had a bit of a thing there with Steve Rivers in kind of the early reincarnation here. For someone who is kind of still that young in the business and now working their way up, to get that experience of being like in the main event, in title matches against a veteran like Steve Rivers, having to deal with everything that goes with some of those matches, that has to be just a valuable experience for a young performer like that.
Well, absolutely. And for those that don't know, Rhino Reynolds, 6'3", 295 pounds, athletic. Yes, still relatively new to the business, but you're right, Peter. He has had some fantastic matches with some veterans of the game in Western Canada, not the least of which is Steve Rivers, as you mentioned, had some great matches with the Canadian Crusher, AJ Sanchez, one of your favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the experience that Rhino Reynolds, and for that matter, everybody else that has come through the Alberta Wrestling Academy and is now wrestling in CanAm Wrestling, has got an invaluable amount of tools around them, given the fact that we've got some fantastic veterans of the business in CanAm Wrestling and a great learning ground for all of the young and up-and-coming stars, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something I talked about with Otto a few weeks ago. In like, you're putting on this show, you want the best product out there, but this is also a good learning experience for a lot of these young performers who are coming up. I would find that to be kind of a tricky balance to walk, where this can't just be a full developmental, hey, this is this guy's third match and his second, let's see what happens. But at the same time, like, you want that experience. That feels like, from a promotional standpoint, like it would be a tricky line to walk.
Well, it's always a tricky line, no matter what type of entertainment you're talking about. And in professional wrestling, I don't like to use the term sports entertainment. We'll leave that for others. But in our brand of professional wrestling and CanAm Wrestling, every performer or wrestler has a number of things that he or she has to take care of, whether it's their look, their body type, their gear, their presentation in and out of the ring, on the microphone, in front of a camera, in front of the crowd, with sponsors. And that is what is to steal a Lex Luger line, the total package as far as what new performers must go through in their learning process to hone all their skills and all the facets of the game. And the young stars, Rhino Reynolds, Chris Castles, David Disaster, so many others have been doing a magnificent job and are steadfast in their commitment to training, whether it's at the Alberta Wrestling Academy or wherever they're going. And the result, I personally believe, has been exponential over the last few months since the reboot of CanAm Wrestling last August. And we invite everybody to come out and see what we have in store for them next Wednesday at the Back Alley. And we also have some fantastic shows coming up to balance out the month of March in Strathmore, in Airdrie, in Okotoks, and in Medicine Hat. And we invite you all to check out our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and our brand new fantastic TikTok channel. It's got some live streaming, or not live anymore, but some streaming matches that have happened and some interviews, and it is really, really great. And of course, last but not least, check out CanAm Wrestling on YouTube, our Slam TV channel. All of the episodes from season 1 Homecoming are now up and available for viewing, and we're very excited to soon be debuting season 2 Arrival. There will be 6 episodes there. There will be play-by-play and color commentary with a yet-to-be-unveiled surprise play-by-play and color commentary team, and some other shenanigans in season 2. And once again, check out Slam TV on YouTube and bring yourself up to speed on what's happening in and around CanAm Wrestling.
Yeah, there's a lot to check out, and it's been a lot of fun to go to the CanAm Arena at the Back Alley every couple of weeks to catch the shows, and I'm looking forward to it again coming up on the 9th and then on the 23rd. You mentioned before the tag team champions of the world, the brand with Sydney Steele and Sean Martins. I'll be chatting with them a little bit later on as we get ready for the show coming up on March 9th.
Peter,
but
you've got the brand.
I've got the brand.
Couch Potato Diary podcast.
This is correct. Yes. Yep. Coming to a podcast near you.
I'm going to forewarn you that you might, between Steele and Martins, be challenged to get a word in edgewise with the two of them.
Yeah, one of those prep 2 questions and just let them run, hey?
Well, they're both a couple of stars in their own mind. And, Martins has a great line, and he always ends his segments with, I'm not even going to say it.
Yeah, I'll let him. Let him
expound.
Yeah,
his own promotional train, if you will.
Yeah, those are 2 guys I feel like I can just say, hey, how awesome are you? And like I could go make a coffee, I could go build a puzzle. Like I think they could just run with it after that. But those are again a couple of guys who have kind of, I don't want to say on the other side of the conversation, but they are more established veterans and guys who but we've talked about it before in text. I feel like both of them are starting to kind of hit their stride. I just noticed that from a fan perspective, as someone who has been in the industry for a long time. What does that look like to you when there's a group that's just like, oh, they've figured something out?
You know what? the headline Sean Martins and big business Sydney Steele have been in the business in Western Canada, and for that matter, they've wrestled all over the world. Steele last year was in Mexico. Martins often wrestles in the United States, and they both separately have got an amazing amount of charisma and intestinal fortitude. Some would say testicular fortitude. And they are fantastic performers, and they were for a long time as singles performers in CanAm Wrestling and in other promotions as well. But since they have decided to combine their skills and form the tag team of the brand, they have some chemistry. They are absolutely the single best tag team, in my humble opinion, in Canada right now, that works on a regular basis, obviously, by their holding the CanAm Wrestling World Tag Team titles. That says a lot, because they have faced the best of the best, and they have faced the Gods of Metal. They have faced the Men in Pink. They have faced so many tag teams. They're going to face the Prophets next Wednesday. And they have faced so many tag teams, and they have put down all of them in convincing fashion, sometimes with some skullduggery and by nefarious methods. But, you know, a famous color commentator and wrestler once said, "Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat." It's kind of the credo of the brand. But whether you like them or you don't like them, and the fans generally hate them, they are fantastic in the ring, and they get the job done, and their timing is meticulous. And it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few months, because there is some big challenges coming their way. But first things first, next Wednesday at the Back Alley, when they face the team of Rhino Reynolds and Chris Castles, the Prophets.
Yes, their steel cage match where they won the titles. I was disappointed to see it end, in part because they won and they're awful human beings. But just that the match was so good that I was like, I wanted to see more of it. So definitely go check them out, coming up March 9th at the Back Alley.
And you know what, Peter? We have to address the fact that the current and reigning world champion in CanAm Wrestling is none other than arguably the biggest fan favorite that we have, and there are many. The Cheetah Bear will be putting his CanAm Wrestling World title on the line against somebody that wrestles in Southern Alberta, in Medicine Hat and Lethbridge on a regular basis, but doesn't make it up to these parts very often. But he's a magnificent wrestler, hated by the fans. He doesn't like anybody, and nobody likes him. And that's Tyler Knox.
Okay.
He wrestles often in Pure Power Wrestling out of Lethbridge. Fantastic wrestler. Never faced the Cheetah Bear before. Cheetah Bear is going to have his back up against the wall, because Tyler Knox is a fantastic wrestler who will win by any means necessary, and he doesn't care how he gets it done as long as he wins. And the Cheetah Bear has had some very huge challenges over the last little while since he won the title. And I hope the Cheetah Bear's not overlooking Tyler Knox, because he hasn't been in and around CanAm Wrestling much. But trust me when I say Tyler Knox is a more than formidable opponent for the CanAm Wrestling World Champion, the Cheetah Bear. And all the fans are going to see what I'm talking about next Wednesday at the CanAm Arena at the Back Alley.
Nice. Yeah, that's actually where I was going to go next, was asking you about him. And the sheer, I don't want to say fear, because I don't think sharks feel fear, but the uncomfortableness every time you have to hold the microphone for Cheetah Bear, who fan favorite, awesome performer, but seems like could just explode at any time. It's always entertaining.
Cheetah Bear is very entertaining. And as somebody that's interviewed him many times, I play it very straight.
Yes. Yeah.
Introduce him, ask him a question, and generally either stand back and hold the microphone or just give him the microphone. Because I'm never quite sure what Cheetah Bear is going to say, but he's always entertaining. One of the most articulate and entertaining wrestlers that there are currently in Canada, working on a regular basis. And for those of you that haven't been exposed or indoctrinated to the videography and verbal articulate nature that the Cheetah Bear is, go on CanAm Wrestling, either TikTok or Facebook, and check out some of the Cheetah Bear's over-the-top promos.
Nice.
He's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. So March 9th at the Back Alley. Tickets are available now. But give us another rundown of what's coming up here for CanAm.
Well, CanAm has got some great shows coming up this month. Like I mentioned, and you did too, next Wednesday at the CanAm Arena at the legendary Back Alley nightclub. We're going to be in Okotoks, Airdrie, Strathmore, Medicine Hat. To find out the dates, the show times, ticket information, the event pages are up on our Facebook page. Simply search CanAm Wrestling and directly go on canamwrestling.ca for all of the event information, times, dates, and you can purchase tickets online at canamwrestling.ca, or if you prefer, you can call Otto at 403-369-3677. He'll answer the phone day or night. It doesn't matter.
Shark, thank you so much for this. It's been fun watching CanAm's growth, and I can't wait to see what's next. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, the Couch Potato Diary podcast, all of your sponsors, for the continual support of CanAm Wrestling. And Peter, we'll see you at the matches.